Over the Christmas holidays last year, I read a book, not just any book though. It's been something that's been on my radar for quite some time, and I wanted to buy this book for ages, and little did I know, I actually already had this book. It was very strange because it was actually tucked under my parents' bed, under the broken bed wheel, and it was tucked there just to stop it from falling over to balance the bed up. I read the book very quickly. This book is called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and here are some of the lessons that I've learned from this book. And it seems really silly, doesn't it? We need to learn from our mistakes, but at the same time adapt for what lies ahead. How can we ignore these things? By obsessing over any time period but the present will make you actually unhappy. I've had these thoughts that it was always better when I was having fun at university, or I will always have money in the future. So there's different lanes of thought. Like 1 minute you're thinking ahead for the positivity, 1 minute you're thinking back for the positivity. The thing is, everything you think can become a short-term distraction to stop you from enjoying what you have in the present moment. As soon as this mindset gets developed and changes from these future or past dwelling states, you actually have the ability to be content. All the other stuff that you have that comes into your life is actually a plus. And I know this sounds counterintuitive, but one of the core strategies that Tolle recommends is not thinking. His idea is that you should become less conscious of your thoughts so that you reduce the noise that you have in your head. This act is identical to how meditation carries out. Not thinking does not make you dull or slow. It allows you to react with instinct. With your consciousness unaffected, you can actually choose to live in the moment. One of my boxing coaches actually recommends for me to do. Now, listening to the rhythms of the body or breath is a good way to stop thinking. It's something that I do quite a lot. Focusing on the ebbs and flows of the breath is what I try to do, so that way it just kind of brings you a little bit more present. What I choose to do, it's a form of shamatha meditation, which is where I like to imagine that there's a warm glow that starts at my head and it works its way all the way down through my body to my abdomen, my stomach and my legs. This doesn't have to be just limited to body parts. This is just a few examples. Your pattern of breathing can be recognized, like how you take deep breaths, filling your lungs up with air. And no matter if you're walking down the street or in traffic jams, you should try to find ways to not resort to just going on your phone, but also like finding ways to, connect your physical body with your surroundings around you. If you pay attention to your body, this concentration can help remove thoughts like fear and anxiety. On a side note, Qi, a source of inner energy, as it's been stated, is what lies between the physical form and what isn't physical, which is called the unmanifested. In the physical reality we live in, we have names, we have identities, possessions and more. The things that have this significance that actually link us to this realm of reality. Directing your Qi inwards actually helps give you a respite from this problem, like a break from these problems. When this happens, your state changes. There is no joy from getting a pay rise, but there's also no anger from getting fired. What will be, will be. Don't stay in the physical world all the time. It's always good to venture into this unmanifested, formless world without intention. There's no objectives. This is my goal when I meditate. It's not to be the same Chris that overthinks, wants approval from friends, but it's a Chris that is a vessel for exploration. In essence, this is what Tolle's theory of death entails. He describes death as the dissolution of the physical form, which the human race, I think, collectively ignores, in my opinion. We are so overexposed to death in the media that when we actually get confronted with this idea, that's when our perspective changes. This is something that I struggle with because I occasionally put my actions and behaviours in the frame of my mortal life. I'm only going to live once. I might be here today, but I might be here tomorrow. By embracing this spiritual state, it makes me aware of what death is, which is being formless. This process is called die before you die. And it's not something to be afraid of. Like life and death, they are something which is actually quite beautiful. There's something that's quite unique about it, and we should not be afraid of it in any way. What I took away from Toll's views is that people, myself included, tend to at times view relationships as the key to all problems. If you do feel insecure as a result of not having many friends, on paper a partner may fill that hole. A lot of emotional anxieties come from a lack of intimacy and a fear of loneliness. To be fair, according to Toll, and in my humble opinion, the closest that you can get to being whole is actually having a physical partner. However, going into relationship mode on a whim is not a healthy thing to do, because on a psychological level, you might be getting your sense of self-worth from factors that have nothing to do with the relationship. In other words, going into a relationship satisfies your ego at times, and which may cause many problems down the line. For happiness with a partner, one needs to not judge oneself or the partner. Also, in my experience, is that a relationship is not here to make you happy, but it's meant to make you a little bit conscious of the improvement of yourself and other people. In spite of all of this, the one thing you don't want to do is claim onto this victim mentality. This is the idea that the past still has a grip on the present, and the trauma still influences who you are. But as soon as you become enlightened, you'll stop having these relationship crises, also having this whole sort of back and forth with yourself. It's a very weird point, but it's very true. We obviously want to be happy, not be unhappy. It might be the best of the times that show us how ungrateful we can be. In other times, the most pain-inducing periods of our lives force us to consider what is most important to us. Life has an ebb and a flow like the Force of Star Wars.
Hello there.
There are peaks, valleys, swings and roundabouts. The good has to be expected with the bad, because otherwise you're just simply being naive. As much as I try to look forward to things, I try to maintain a neutrality that doesn't taint the occasion with a negative or positive outlook, if that makes sense. For example, Toll refers to an actress that in her youth was beloved for her beauty. This became her staple and it became a core of her identity. As the years went on, her physical beauty actually deteriorated. Upon this process, she became a recluse, locking herself away from the world. What she could have done is embraced her spiritual beauty of being at the point of her golden years and being at spiritual peace. I think this is something that we can all remember. When you think of the person that you admire the most, it's usually not their beauty that you value the most. It's the character, it's their ability to be a friend, one that you could rely upon. And bringing us onto the last point, the weight of emotions can be unbearable at times. You might want to scream to the rooftops of your love or sink into a depression when you're being overworked. No matter what, if you're able to embrace the emotional or physical impact of an event, you'll find it easier to cope. In the more extreme cases like terminal illness, there are things that you cannot ignore. Perhaps the time that you have left isn't long. By embracing what is most likely going to happen, you cut away all the unnecessary clutter. No matter the pain, no matter the horror, every hour and every day is a blessing. What I have felt from reading this book is not just a sense of understanding of people, but also myself. I'm trying to not get attached to what I have physically, because I am most likely going to lose those things at some point. Guys, I know it's a bit of a deep one, but honestly, if you like this, comment, like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.